Sam Splinting in the Wilderness by Lacey McMahon. Sam splints are reusable, lightweight, compact, waterproof, radiolucent, flexible, and easily fit into any pack. Sam splints are typically used for breaks and sprains. A sprain is the overstretching of a joint or movement beyond normal range that may injure the ligament that support the joint. Signs and symptoms of a sprain include pain, swelling, and some discoloration. The signs and symptoms of a break include pain, swelling, discoloration, guarding, a popping sound, deformity, reduced range of motion, and reduced circulation, sensation, and motion. A SAM splint can be used on a sprain or break in the forearm or upper arm. There are a few simple steps to splinting an injury of the forearm. First, wrap the injury to keep compression with an ACE bandage if available. Mold a C-curve out of your SAM splint and fold the end to give the patient something to grip. Using tape or other materials such as bandanas or ripped cloth, secure the SAM splint enough so that the patient is unable to move his or her arm. After the splint is secure, remove all excess material by folding up the ends to create better stability. Creating a sling is ideal so that the patient is able to walk out of the woods on their own. Injuries of the lower leg include ankle, tibia, and fibula injuries. With a lower leg injury, you will want to keep compression with an ACE bandage, just as you did with the forearm injury. Create stability by placing the middle of the SAM splint on the heel of the foot and run the C-curve splint up the sides of the lower leg. Again, use tape to secure the SAM splint so that the patient is unable to move his or her ankle. Ensuring that the splint is secure is key to a leg injury, as the patient may be able to walk out instead of calling for a litter, depending on the severity of the injury. Spinal injuries are very serious and can cause permanent damage. Having a caregiver secure the head while splinting the neck is a must. While splinting the neck, you will mold a chin rest and wrap the splint securely around the neck, fastening it with medical tape. Cranking down on the sides to remove excess SAM splint material will secure the neck even more. As little movement of the neck and back as possible are key to hopefully getting a patient the help they need. A spinal injury will always call for a litter for the patient to be assisted out of the wilderness. Rest, ice, compression, and elevation will begin the treatment process for a sprain in the wilderness. By wrapping the injury with an ACE bandage, you will create the compression needed. This treatment plan will hopefully ease the pain and allow the patient to continue on their adventure. Splinting a fracture in the wilderness requires a buff splint. Buff stands for big, ugly, fat, and fluffy. This provides the injury with stability at the core and a fat and fluffy outer shell that will protect the injury from further damage. Wrapping a blanket and extra clothing around the SAM splint will create the outer shell. A litter carry will depend on the location of the injury and pain tolerance of the patient. Minimize movement of the injury and provide your patient with maximum TLC to prevent shock. Once the splint is secure, check circulation, sensation, and motion with every vitals check.
Okay, ready? My nose itches. Okay, we're good.